Well, welcome to the fifth of the fifth part of the lecture, our lecture on technological advancement of Marxian economics course. And here, basically, we will look what will happen to the overall economy when the variable capital, basically, that's necessary is decreases, basically. Well, remember, this means that the sectors, in the economy, all sectors, in all sectors, labor become more productive. When labor becomes more productive, that means first, of course, the time necessary for production will decrease. For now, let's assume exploitation rate has remained the same, by the way. But we will question that, as we will question everything else. However, note that this happens in all economy, in all economic system. So even when what changes is what changes is only the amount of the labor power necessary for each sector, the physical amount of constant capital necessary for each sector will remain the same. So you will need same amount of wood, same amount of machinery, same amount of infrastructure, at least in comparable to the labor variable capital. The constant capital you need on every sector in the economy will remain the same. However, the time necessary to produce that constant capital will fall now. Previously, remember, the change was happening in only one sector. So it was not affecting the constant capital, the value of the constant capital required by the sector. But since this happens now in whole economy, the time necessary to produce the constant capital will also fall. So C will also fall to half of its value, to 5. So basically, we will have a case which was mimicking the previous case. Previously, we had 10, 10, 10. Now we have 5, 5, 5. But since all values had decreased at the same ratio, the exchange value will be the half. However, the profit rate will remain the same, 0.5 or 50%, basically. Since all numbers, you might think on a division, on both the number at the top and at the bottom were divided by half. This won't change the result of the division. However, one thing might there are two things that might change actually. First, we assumed exploitation rate remained the same, and organic composition is also one. Both might actually vary. Exploitation rate might vary in one way. Let's assume previously our worker was getting a wage which was basically, let's say, equivalent to 10 labor hour per day. And with this 10 labor hour per day, our worker is able to get, let's say, 1,000, let's say, breads, basically. Now, if when the production time is cut by half, this means now in one day our worker produced double the amount. So in 2 days, actually, the amount of the value of the product that is produced is worth 30 labor hours, not 15 labor hours, not because now our worker is able to work double as fast. Which means previously, of course, the time necessary to produce this product was 20 hours. Now it has fallen to 10 hours. Then, if we assume there is a shift, of course, it might be produced in 1 day. And previously, our worker was getting a wage which was equal to 10 labor hours per day. Per 20 hour he or she was working. Now, per 20 hour work he or she has conducted, he or she again gets 10 labor hour worth of wage. But note the same bread, for same product, let's say 1,000 breads, can now be produced at half time. So let's say it's produced at 5 labor hours. So with the same, if the exploitation rate remains the same and production doubles, you might think that previously we were producing 2,000 breads and we were distributing it. We were giving 1,000 to the labor, 1,000 to the capital. Not this way, but we were giving the value of the 1,000 bread to the workers and the value of the 1,000 bread to the capitalists. Now we are producing 2,000 breads, and if exploitation rate remains the same, we are giving the value of the 1,000 bread to the worker and value of the 1,000 bread to the capitalists. However, this might not necessarily be the case. If the buying power of the wage remains the same, if the workers are able to buy exactly the same amount of bread after this technological change, since the time necessary to produce this bread has fallen down, in that case, the worker will get just 5 labor hour worth of wage. 5 labor hour worth of wage per 20 hour he works. Previously, he was getting 10 labor hour worth of wage for 20 hours he or she works. Now he gets 5 labor hour worth of wage per 20 hour he or she works, and get basically works same time, and his or her buying power also remains the same. From the worker's perspective, nothing has changed basically, in fact. But this might actually change the amount of variable capital that is paid per 10 hour worked to 2.5 labor hours. And basically, 2.5, and the surplus value might rise to 7.5. So actually exploitation rate in this case might increase 300 basically. So unless, actually note that our capitalist doesn't need to do anything, unless he raises the wages to a sufficiently high level to, let's say, to give the share of the worker from the productivity increase. So let's say the productivity of worker has increased 100%. Unless our capitalist makes a wage raise that is also equal to 100%, which will double the wage of the worker, if he chooses to do nothing, then the wage will remain the same, and which will mean the buying power of the wage will remain the same. But since the worker is now producing more, that would mean the capitalist will get more, actually 3 times more in this case. So 3 times more in terms of the products that are produced basically. So basically, this might, of course, change the profit rate. This actually now will mean surplus value divided to constant capital plus variable capital is 100% has become our profit rate basically in this case. Because 7.5 is the capital that's needed, 7.5 is the surplus, and this is a representative company, so we assume this is economy-wide case. Well, another thing that can happen is actually this possibility of actually this possibility of increase in exploitation rate as a result of increase in labor productivity may make also it feasible to increase the constant capital. So while the technological advancement might be happening that will decrease the labor productivity, our capitalists might also at the same time increase the constant capital. So basically, it will increase physical amount of capital, number of machines, number of inputs relative to workers, in order to increase the productivity of the workers, get new machines to the factory, or buy certain services from other companies. For example, if you buy catering services from other companies to feed your workers, in that case, you are actually increasing your constant capital because that's a service you buy. That's a non-labor input you buy from another company. So in this case, this type of technological change can actually increase the organic composition of capital of our company. Well, without this, just have when you just have your exploitation rate increased and the constant capital remained the same. In that case, also, of course, if the exploitation rate increases, the variable capital will fall relative to surplus value, relative to total time worked. This will also increase the organic composition of capital, by the way. That's another possibility for the organic composition of capital remain the same. Only if the exploitation rate will remain the same and also the constant capital the constant capital relative to labor remain the same. In that case, the exploitation rate, the organic composition of capital will remain the same. So there are two possibilities which might basically increase the organic composition of capital when labor productivity increases. One will be realized when the increase in productivity will not be reflected in the wages of the workers. Even if it is not reflected in the wages of workers proportional to the productivity increase, this is still the case. So this might basically be 3 to, for example, 7. That's the case. The productivity has increased by 100%, doubled. However, the wage has just increased from 2.5 to 3. That's actually a 25% increase. So still, the exploitation rate has increased and organic composition of capital has also increased in this case. Well, also note that, for example, if this has become 7.5, 7,5, it is still the value of the constant capital is still less than the previous value, 10. But now, because the physical amount of constant capital has increased compared with labor, even though the value of the constant capital is less compared with the first case, the value of the labor has fallen even more. So actually what happened is actually the company has increased the physical amount of constant capital, but actually because that constant capital itself is produced for a lower price now, the value of the constant capital has fallen. But C over V ratio still has risen up because the fall in the value of C used in the company is not as much as fall in the value of V because the physical amount of constant capital has increased. Well, what would happen to the organic composition capital if we change we just reduce the constant capital? Well, if we reduce just the constant capital, in that case, the organic composition of capital will decrease. So, organic composition capital will decrease in case our technological improvement is basically decreasing the constant capital. Organic composition might basically increase. Will remain the same if the labor productivity is increased and the workers are compensated at an equal amount that is equal amount which is equal to the increase in the labor productivity. In that case, profit rate will also remain the same, by the way. It won't change because everything will mimic the previous case. But it will basically, the profit amount will increase, the organic composition will increase if the wages don't increase proportionately, or and organic composition will increase if constant capital amount as a physical amount is increased after the technological advancements. So, this is for the economic consequences. See you in the next part, basically.